everyone. My name is Lisa Trudell, and I am a co-author of 100 Things to Do in Nebraska, and also a couple of other books. So our latest book, 100 Things to Do in Nebraska Before You Die. Last year, my husband Tim and I released Unique Eats and Eateries of Omaha. And then the year before that, we released 100 Things to Do in Omaha Before You Die. So in addition to being authors of these local books, we also have been bloggers, my husband Tim and I, for the last, since 2011. And my husband is also a freelance writer. He's done work with the Omaha World Herald, Omaha Magazine, website called Travel Awaits, and the Living Here magazine, and several others. We are also, I am also co-owner of the Midwest Travel Network, which connects writers and destinations together to promote tourism in the Midwest. And just to let you know a little bit about why Tim is not here, he's actually unavailable to be with us tonight. Some of you may be aware that one of his brothers is undergoing treatment for colon cancer. So every other week he goes to travel to Northeast Nebraska to help out. And the great news is that they got all the cancer, and his current treatments are actually just going on, so to ensure it doesn't come back. So we're grateful for all of that. We thank you again for joining us on this show. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about ourselves. And we are grateful to have a special guest on tonight to talk a little bit about Nebraska travel when we feel safe to do so again. So I am glad to bring on our guest. Her name is Muriel Clark, and she is the Assistant Director at the North Platte Lincoln County Visitors Bureau. It's a post that she's held since 2004. Prior to that, she spent 3 years at the North Platte Area Chamber of Commerce. She currently serves as the president of the Nebraska Lincoln Highway Historic Byway, which is a perfect role for her, as she loves to travel the back roads of Nebraska, visiting all of the unique little towns, which is something she terribly misses right now during this COVID-19 crisis that we're currently undergoing. So I am going to bring on our guest, Muriel Clark.
Hello. Thanks.
Hi, Muriel. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. This is exciting. This is really fun.
Good. Well, we're so glad you could take some time to be with me tonight. I appreciate that, and be a part of our little show.
Yeah, if you can't travel yourself, then what better thing to do than talk about all the great things that are out there waiting for us.
Right, and especially with the weather getting so nice. One of the things that I find great right now, and even though we can't do as much traveling, or we're wanting to wait a little bit more, is learning about some of the things that are going on in our own backyard. And I know that, so tell me a little bit about what you've been doing during this whole thing.
That's right. We've been working at home here since about mid-March. The staff of the Visitors Bureau just scattered to their own homes. We can pretty much do all of our work from home, so that works out really well. We, of course, meet by Zoom every week, multiple times a week. So we're learning those programs pretty well. But we have a great promotion going on now entitled "Be a Tourist in Your Backyard." We've got signs up all across Lincoln County at tons of different attractions that people may not remember are even there. And they're having a selfie contest so they can go out and explore the county and maybe win some prizes. So that's kind of where we've been focusing on, is really helping our locals remember what's going on right here in our own county, so that when people start to travel again, they're going to be perfect ambassadors for all the destinations that are out there.
I love those type of programs, because there's sometimes that I know Tim and I find that even though we think we know our own backyard and our own neighborhoods, that we find that there's always something that we forget about, didn't know about, need to discover again because they've updated it. Mm-hmm. There's quite a few of those gems here in Omaha too. So I'll bet that that's going to be a great program, and I love that idea.
Yeah, and as the state starts to open up, one of the things that we found is a lot of our proprietors and our destinations, our attractions, have spent this downtime improving, doing renovations, remodeling. So people are going to find some new things even on places that they're familiar with.
Oh yeah, a little fresh paint or coat of paint, right? So a few upgrades. I know that I saw on Facebook that before I say this, happy hump day.
It is hump day. That's right. And speaking of hump day, the Golden Spike, which overlooks the hump yards at Bailey Yard, has been spending this time deep cleaning, rearranging their whole gift shop, just giving everything a fresh new look out there.
I saw that. And when you talked about places refreshing themselves and doing some upgrades or renovations, that's what made me think of the Golden Spike, because I saw one of their Facebook posts about redoing their gift shop. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is a special place itself. So we know that we probably have some people that are watching that probably have no idea where, or not necessarily no idea, but we should probably describe a little bit where North Platte is for those that maybe are new to Nebraska, or maybe they're looking to visit Nebraska.
Sure. We are in a great location. We're described as being in west central Nebraska. So we're about 50 miles maybe from the Colorado border. And as you stay on Interstate 80 and go towards Wyoming, we're about 3 hours from the Wyoming border, right along Interstate 80, right along Highway 83, of course, Highway 30, the Lincoln Highway as well. So west central Nebraska, kind of halfway between the Lincoln, Omaha area and the Denver area. So pretty centrally located.
Yeah, right on the way. As I know quite a few people when they go west, they're usually going to Denver or maybe farther points west. And North Platte's definitely a great spot to take a break in that trip and spend a day or two there.
Sure. And I know we'll talk about this a little bit more as you go on, but we're a great hub because we're so centrally located. So you can make North Platte your headquarters and then just kind of spark off from there and visit a lot of different things.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more, as you mentioned, about
Hi, Buffalo Bill here. I tell you, I'm no stranger to water. I've been in a kayak, canoe, a rowboat, a steamboat. I've even been on a battleship. But only here in North Platte do they put a tank in the water and go floating down the river. It's genius. Pure recreation. And that's why I'm giving Dusty Trails the coveted Buffalo Bill's Buffalo of Approval.
Safe for us and for others. We still wanted to talk about the great things that North Platte has to offer, and several of them are included on your newest book. And so we thought instead we would come on with you. I reached out to you and said, what would you think about doing this instead, just to talk about North Platte and the things to do out there to help people with planning their trip out there when things get better. So I was glad we were again glad you were able to come on.
Thank you. And yes, I have my book. You can see it's already getting to be well thumbed and marked. So I am so happy that you have included some fabulous attractions, events, destinations on here. So yeah, I love this. More than happy to do this.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I know that there's people that jokingly say, are there 100 things to do in Nebraska? But as you can see, as you flip through the book, and I see all the bookmarks that you've gotten in there, that there are several lists in the books. There's even itineraries, sample itineraries in the back. And then there's also, like I said, when we mention an attraction, we may also on the other page list several other attractions nearby or in that destination. So there's more than 100 things in that book, actually.
There is, and it is very well laid out, because you're exactly right. You might have a signature attraction in a community, such as the Golden Spike Tower or something like that, our Lincoln County Historical Museum. But when people come to town, they don't just want to do one thing and then leave. They want to really fill their day. And the lists and the itineraries that you've put in here are really going to help them do that, because they can look and say, okay, we're going for the tower. We can also go to Buffalo Bills Ranch, Fort Cody Trading Post, Grain Bin Antique Town, go, yeah, they can just find lots of
Yeah, there's definitely lots to do. It was hard to choose kind of some of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight. But before we kind of get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about just the community in general. I know that here in Omaha, we've seen a lot of positive things. There's a lot of challenges around the current situation we're in with COVID-19, but I know that we've also seen here in Omaha some great highlights of the essential workers, and talking about supporting local businesses. And I found out about some businesses I didn't know about. What are some of the things that you're seeing in North Platte happening?
We are seeing the exact same thing, and it's exciting because as I'm on different tourism websites, it's kind of like there's so many communities replicating the same thing, almost like it was a planned thing, but it really happened organically. So some of the things that we're seeing here in North Platte, one of the first things the Visitors Bureau did is create a restaurant support group. And it's up to like 2,500 members already, even in our small community. And the restaurants are there sharing their menus. People are there sharing their favorite dishes. They're posting their pictures of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, wherever they go out to eat for their takeout or delivery. Of course, we've got the restaurants that are being able to deliver groceries and kind of quarantine supplies. So that's been exciting. And you're right, people have discovered, even on our small community, restaurants that they didn't know about. And so they're getting to branch out with that. Of course, it's a real hard time for our seniors, not our senior citizens. It's hard for them too. But our high school seniors, they're missing out on a lot of the stuff that really makes that senior year special, prom and graduation and all their sports and extracurricular activities. So we've seen in our downtown in North Platte, as well as on our main streets in our small communities, really giving over their shop windows to support the seniors and to showcase their senior pictures and really give them some recognition that we understand how hard this is for them. Church services. My niece has organized a church service in your car a couple of times, where they all just tune their radio stations to a certain channel and worship together. They're doing it in the parking lot of the hospital, so they can get together in fellowship as well as support the healthcare workers. And we're seeing all kinds of these little different things happening that they're positives. They kind of came out of a negative, but they're positives. And we really hope that spirit just continues.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear about all of those things. We've seen really some of the similar things. I know when you and I were kind of talking and kind of preparing for the show, we were talking about some of the things that we would like to see maybe stick around, like the cocktails to go. I mean, I think a lot of these businesses have really stepped up their game and innovated a little bit and turned things around pretty quickly to get some different things going so that they can keep their businesses alive and interest people to still come out and support them.
Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce in North Platte just today announced a new program that they're doing with some of the economic development dollars. So they've got a gift card program. You go in and you buy a gift card at any North Platte business, and then that business takes that receipt to the chamber and they get that same amount. So for your business, they're turning $1 into $2. So you go buy a $50 gift card, that actually means $100 to that business. And that'll run until the fund runs out of money. So everybody is really stepping up and doing what they can to help their neighbors and friends and area businesses through this hard time.
Yeah, that's great. I know that, so I'm glad to hear that. And we can't wait to get back. I know it's been a few years since Tim and I have been out there, so we can't wait to kind of see some of the businesses that have come up since we were last out there and see what's going on in North Platte now. I know that we wanted to talk about a couple of things in the book, just to kind of highlight a couple of things that we've been to before. One of them, and we'll kind of introduce a character here real quick. One that is pretty near and dear to North Platte's heart and ours, the Bailey Railyard. And when I say that we're going to introduce a character, because Buffalo Bill is actually going to introduce the Bailey Rail Yard here for us really quick.
Hi, Buffalo Bill here. Would you look at that? Oh, it's majestic. Bailey Yard, the world's largest rail yard. People from all over the world come to see this. It's the heart and soul of American commerce. And we're viewing it from the Golden Spike Tower. It's amazing. So we're gonna give the Golden Spike Tower Buffalo Bill's Buffalo of Approval.
That just makes you smile watching it, doesn't it?
He is pretty cute. If any train enthusiast, the Bailey Rail Yard is definitely a stop. It is the world's largest rail yard, and the Spike Tower gives you a great view over the yard. One of the things that we want to do when we go back is, I know that during rail days, and I think it's the only time you can do it, is you can go into the garages. I don't know, I can't remember what they call them.
Well, you can actually tour the yard during North Platte Rail Days, and
Okay.
that's kind of gone through a little bit of a metamorphosis, but we believe it'll be in early August of this year. Of course,
Okay.
everything is up in the air this year. We know that.
Right.
But yeah, you get to actually get on a bus and tour through the yard. So one time a year, you can really see behind the scenes at the Bailey Rail Yard. So yeah, the Golden Spike Tower, it's a great quick stopover. You go up, you see what there is, and you leave if that's all the time that you have. But if you really want to experience it, go up there and spend an hour or two or a morning or an afternoon or all day and really watch the ebb and flow of the work that goes on in the yard. And of course, there are docents up on the top floor that'll tell you what's happening, what you're seeing, what might be in those rail cars that are going through. So they can really make it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that we enjoyed when we were there, is just learning more about what was going on. And we learned a little bit about, that's why I talked about a little bit earlier. Today happens to be hump day, Wednesday, but hump is actually, or humping, I guess, is actually a trained term in the yard, because it's when they, if I'm correct, they unhook the car and hook it onto the right car to get down to the correct path that they're going to be taking to deliver the goods. Is that correct?
Right. So they push the cars up on a hill, they unhook them at the top, and then gravity just brings them down the other side. So that's the hump. And then they are divided into the different rail tracks. They're building the trains that then will go out of the yard.
And it's fascinating, because it is really it's still one of our main traffic generators of our product system.
That's right. If you wear it, you eat it, you have it in your house, chances are it came through Bailey Yard.
Crazy. It's pretty cool. Another one I wanted to bring up really quick. We'll talk about some other things, but just wanted to point out a couple really quick here. The other one is Fort Cody. This one is really interesting, but again, we'll have our friend Buffalo Bill kind of introduce this one.
Hi, I'm Buffalo Bill, and this is my trading post, Fort Cody. It's the best trading post. God dang, it's the best trading post in all the West. King me. Every Thursday night at Fort Cody, they have the Fort Cody Music Series, and this is their biggest fan. Oh look, I'm me. It's my trading post, and that's why Fort Cody gets Buffalo Bill's Buffalo of Approval.
He is. Yeah. I love the way he just kind of went with the whole hair thing.
That's right. Fort Cody is a local icon. It used to be on Highway 30, the old Lincoln Highway. And then when they built the interstate in the early 80s or the early 70s, it moved out there. And it is still one of those quirky roadside attractions that travelers just love. It's got not only every kind of kitschy souvenir that you can imagine, but a two-headed calf, Buffalo Bill's Wild West show in miniature, and a great Old West museum. So no trip to North Platte is complete without a stop at Fort Cody Trading Post.
And did you just say that it's the largest gift shop in the area, or is it one of the largest in the state?
I think it probably is. I don't know that that is particularly one of their claims to fame, but you can find everything out there. You can find edible crickets, chocolate covered crickets, John Wayne toilet paper, you name it, they've got it out there.
Hey, maybe that was one of the places to find toilet paper if you couldn't find it at Walmart.
You know, they might have still had it. Yeah.
So those are just a couple that are in the book. Of course, like we've talked about, there's lots of things to do in North Platte. And right now, of course, with social distancing, we probably are wanting to look at, and especially with the weather getting warmer, probably want to look at some of the outdoor things that are available in North Platte. And to be honest, Tim and I haven't even experienced some of these things.
Well,
and we got to get back down there.
Yeah, that's right. I know when we were having a little bit of technical difficulties a bit ago, we played the video of Buffalo Bill tanking. And tanking in North Platte is absolutely incredible. And if you don't know what tanking is, you might need to replay this video so that you can watch it. You get in a stock tank and you float down the river. And it is the perfect social distancing with the family that you're quarantined with. So get your family together. Dusty will get you on the river. You won't see anybody but your own little family group during your whole day. You'll be out in the great outdoors and really enjoying just watching the river flow by. He can also help you with kayaking. So if you don't have, a small group that you're quarantined with, you and your significant other or you by yourself can just get on the river in your kayak.
Oh, nice. Well, I don't think it would be a bad idea if we go ahead and replay that clip.
Well,
the tanking.
Hi, Buffalo Bill here. I tell you, I'm no stranger to water. I've been in a kayak, canoe, a rowboat, a steamboat. I've even been on a battleship. But only here in North Platte do they put a tank in the water and go floating down the river. It's genius. Pure recreation. And that's why I'm giving Dusty Trails the coveted Buffalo Bill's Buffalo of Approval.
Honestly, what could look better than that?
That does look very relaxing right now, I'll tell you.
Yes.
I love kayaking too, so I would do that totally. And I think that if I remember right, Dusty Trails also has horseback riding.
Yes, horseback riding. And again, you can do that with the family group that you're quarantined with. He'll get your family out there on a horseback adventure.
One thing about that I would love to do is I'd love to come and take my get my telescope out and come out from some night sky watching. Now I know probably not right in North Platte, but probably right outside the city, or it's not too. Would probably be some nice skies. I imagine where you're at, where you live in your home, that there's probably some nice night sky viewing.
Yeah, there is. Our Feather River Vineyard, which is in the canyon south of North Platte, is really focusing on their night skies. They've been working with another one of my colleagues to really add that as one of their attractions. Of course, that's gotten a little sidelined right now, but it's really not weather that you want to sit out in the night and watch the stars yet anyway. But yeah, look for that. Feather River Vineyards is out a little ways. There's some other game and parks land that's out in the rural areas that would be great to watch the night skies with. Yeah,
and actually wine is actually an item in our book. So there's just so many different things that you can find that you wouldn't expect actually in Nebraska. A lot of people don't realize that there are so many wineries in the state.
We have wineries, we have distilleries, and we have breweries, and you do cover a lot of them in the book here. And of course, North Platte is a good hub if you're going to do kind of a brew tour of Western Nebraska, or maybe a wine tour of the area. Not a lot of distilleries, but you can definitely make a day to go down to Moorfield and experience Lazy RW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's not only is, out in your area. I know we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that are kind of taking that road trip away from your area, but using it as a hub. But the Sandhills, can you tell us a little bit about what the Sandhills are?
Well, the Sandhills are technically the largest grass stabilized sand dune area in the Western Hemisphere. They are absolutely beautiful. We've had some good rains out here this spring, so they're going to start to turn green. The wildflowers are going to start to pop. Great little road trips to go through the sandhills on, Highway 83, Highway 2, the Nebraska Sandhills Journey Scenic Byway. A lot of great little towns to stop in. Hometown restaurants, grocery stores, coffee shops, pubs. You can really spend, actually, you can spend a lifetime exploring the sandhills and the little towns up there. But it makes a great weekend trip, a great day trip to get out there.
Yeah, I know that the other day, was it yesterday? We had some pretty wicked winds going through the area. I don't know if it was that way out your way, because you're about 4 hours from us. Did you have some pretty big winds coming through the area?
Yeah, it was pretty windy, but we had some rain, so it kind of helped cut down on the fire danger a little bit. And I didn't hear about any major fires coming up from there. But yeah, it can get windy out here in Western Nebraska.
I was thinking about that because I was imagining, you were talking about the wildflowers and the grass on the sandhills, and just imagining, the pretty scenery it would be as the winds kind of sweep over them a little bit.
Yes.
People think that, that don't know Nebraska too much, think that it's pretty flat. But actually, if you get off the interstate and get off the major highways, you'll see that, as you can tell by the name, the Sandhills, there are some, it's not so flat.
It's not so flat. And then you get further out west, which you also cover in your book, into the Panhandle region. You've got the high plains up there. You go up further towards the Chadron area. You've got the Pine Ridge. So there's a lot of varied topography in Nebraska. It's not just all the flat Platte River Valley that the interstate goes through.
Actually, the cover image that we used for tonight's show is actually the Platte River. And so that's one of the Platte River is unique in the way that it is so shallow, and that allows the ability to go tanking and that unique experience.
Of course, we're right. The heart of the Platte River Valley is called the Great Platte River Road. People have known for generations, clear back through the times that the pioneers went through here, that this was really the straightest, flattest, most convenient way to get quickly across Nebraska. And that's why the railroad followed it, the Pony Express followed it, the telegraph followed it, and then the historic Lincoln Highway, America's first transcontinental highway, followed it, and then Interstate 80. So it's been a transportation corridor for a long time.
Yeah, it's amazing that the connections that North Platte has and Nebraska has in the history of our country. With, like you talked about, the rail yard. We've covered Lincoln Highway and the first transcontinental highway going through the country, and like you said, Pony Express and so many other, Oregon Trail. There's some. I know last time we were out there that we saw some of the wagon ruts the wheel ruts that were left from the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, they still exist here. And, a lot of places have their own local museum, and we do too, the Lincoln County Historical Museum. But because of where we're located, our museum tells a much bigger story than just the local settlement. It really tells the story of that great westward migration that happened, 1860s kind of on into the early part of the 20th century. It all passed through here. All those important trails passed through here, and our museum really tells that story. And of course, as a part of our railroad heritage, the North Platte Canteen, it would not have happened if we weren't a big railroad hub. All of the troop trains from Union Pacific passed through here. Locals knew they needed to do something, so what they did is serve 6.5 million servicemen and women throughout the course of the war to kind of spread that morale that we have here in the great heartland.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the Lincoln County Historical Museum the first time, and then we learned about the canteen, and then finding out that the doors are actually still there at the front of the museum. That's pretty cool to keep that history there.
Yes, yep, you walk right through the same doors.
Now, I know that we've always thought North Platte, as we talked about before, is a perfect spot to use for additional day trips out. And in fact, last time we were out there, we used it as a base for some adventures out to some of the unique attractions that further west Nebraska has, including Carhenge and Alliance and Chimney Rock near Bayard, which are both in the book. What are some of the day trips you would recommend? Which ones would you talk to people about?
Yeah, you've chosen a couple good ones. Getting out into the Panhandle, Scotts Bluff, the Chimney Rock area, the Pine Ridge area. You know, I don't want to keep harping on breweries, but breweries, great trips. You can stay in North Platte. We've got 2 great breweries here now. And so you can experience our local beer, but you can go up to Scotts Bluff, a little bit north up to Broken Bow and Ord, down to McCook, over to Imperial, a little bit down the road in Lexington. And they all have breweries now. They brew.
Oh, wow.
Beer. They're proud of their hometowns and the area that makes their beers unique. And so you can learn a lot about an area just by taking those brewery tours.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when we went to, we were at an ecotourism conference out in Kearney, and we had done it was a brewery tour. We took out to Kincaider.
Oh, yes.
And that was really good. So, yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot of history, a lot of culture, a lot of local flavor by touring the breweries. We absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them in the book as well.
Yeah. A real quick trip from North Platte is to the little town of Paxton. Here in Sutherland, I'm about halfway between Paxton and North Platte, so we go there quite a bit. Great little town. Of course, they've got Ole's Big Game Bar. Ole was a big game hunter who traveled the world and brought home all of those incredible mounts. And you can find all that right over there in Paxton, Nebraska. The Windy Gap is another great saloon that's there locally. They have Anne Marie's, which is a great coffee shop. She's added the Granary, which is actually a true historic grain elevator from 100 years ago that she has restored into a coffee shop. So it's a great stop. You do include a lot of that in your book here. And one of the things that I have all these little tabs for is the byways are really near and dear to my heart. And those tabs are everything that's in your book that can actually be found on the Lincoln Highway. And I didn't try to go through any of Nebraska's other 9 byways to see what was on those, but you definitely have the Lincoln Highway covered. North Platte's on the byway. Paxton, Sutherland, all those are on the Lincoln Highway, and you can travel the whole byway by using your book as a guide.
Very nice. Yeah, we might have to send out an addendum or an updated itinerary with just the things that are in the book to those that purchase it, with maybe to travel one of the byways using the book.
Oh yeah,
so it's a good idea. It's unfortunately not something we had thought of originally, but yeah, there's so many great. I mean, I know one of the things I love that Nebraska tourism has done now for quite a few years now is the Nebraska passport. And so the book is kind of your somewhat addition to your being able to do something that you can check off, and kind of like the passport.
Yeah, the passport is a great program. We did just hear today. It's been pushed back to June. We'll start June 1st. We do have 3 great locations in North Platte on the passport. Prairie Friends and Flowers, which of course is a flower shop and a gift shop. Double Dips, the original ice creamery, is in downtown North Platte and is just fantastic. And then Vic's, the Pop Corner. It used to be called Vic's Corn Popper, and I can't get that out of my mind, but the Pop Corner. Great sandwiches and soups, of course, popcorn balls, wonderful stuff. So yeah, take your book, get the Nebraska passport, and just get out and travel and explore.
Yeah, we've got so many opportunities to take a look, and we just talked about a few things in North Platte, and there's many more things in the book related to North Platte. If anybody's interested in purchasing the books, any of them, as we mentioned, the other 2 are focused on Omaha. We've got 100 Things to Do in Omaha Before You Die, and Unique Eats and Eateries of Omaha, which has 90 restaurants, 91 restaurants actually listed in the book to get a culinary adventure going in Omaha. And then, of course, as we've been talking about tonight, 100 Things to Do in Nebraska Before You Die. If you're interested tonight, or if you're watching a replay and you would like a copy of any of these books, you can order them on our website at thewalkingtourist.com/books. And if you mention in the comments that you saw this show, again, live or on the replay, you can actually, we'll waive the shipping for you. We'll ship it out for free. And you should be able to get it a lot quicker than what we're seeing some of the shipping happening from some of the other distributors right now. As well as we'll be happy to sign it for you. Make a great Mother's Day, Father's Day gift, graduation gift for anybody that's graduating, and maybe even if they're going on to UNL or UNO or any of the Nebraska schools. So one of the things maybe we should do is kind of see if anybody's got any questions about the area, and open it up to a little bit of Q&A. And see what everybody is thinking. We appreciate everybody again being on tonight, and thank Muriel for being here. And I see some comments in here from Kay Johnson. Thank you for being on. And Ronky, and Ronky says, hi, Muriel. And she's a friend of ours that we've seen at a couple of few conferences. And she's actually a Nebraskan, former Nebraskan as well. She lives in Kansas now, but used to live in Nebraska. And sister-in-law Sandra said she was watching, so we appreciate that. And Gretchen actually has a book coming out in the fall called 100 Things to Do in Lincoln. So that's exciting. And she also has a book called Detour Nebraska. And she has visited North Platte a number of times, and we feature, I believe, some of her blog posts about the community, as well as yours, on our visitnorthplatte.com website. Yeah, we were grateful to have those be featured there. And Gretchen loves the cute commercials with Buffalo Bill. Now, we know that you started using this current Buffalo Bill, was it couple years ago?
You know, it's been since 2015 that we launched our New Adventures of Buffalo Bill promotion, and it has been wildly successful. He's a great character. He's an actor from the Lincoln area, so he's a Nebraska boy. Buffalo Bill was in his day was the greatest showman in the world, and he was really an over-the-top character. So we don't feel too bad about kind of using humor to infuse that Buffalo Bill character with something that might appeal to the modern day traveler. And they have really responded to it. People love those commercials.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Let's see, what else is anybody? Ronky was saying she was begging her parents to go there, and I can't.
I'll bet it's Fort Cody Trading
Fort Cody, yep. It is a spot that, as we saw in the video or the commercial, that it looks like it's hard to imagine. You talk about Fort Cody and you don't think it's actually going to look like a fort from the outside, but it does, and it's a lot of fun to go into. Gretchen says she likes Powell's Brewery in North Platte.
Powell's, wonderful, great beer, great handcrafted pizza, and as I mentioned, we do have a new brewery that just opened up, so you can make North Platte a beer destination now with a couple breweries. You want to throw in some wine? We've got a winery and the distillery that's not too far away.
You know, one of my favorite unique things I talk about there are a lot of unique things in North Platte. I'd like to go ahead and showcase one of my other favorite ones really quick with our friend Buffalo Bill again. And that is actually I didn't have it on the list, but it is in the book, the Grain Bin Antique Town. Ooh, yeah. I'm trying to remember where that video is. I think that is that one. I think it's this one.
Hi, Buffalo Bill here. We're going to go visit the Lincoln County Historical Museum. I can't wait.
Well, that's a great video, but that's not Grain Bin.
No, I think it's this one.
I'm Buffalo Bill. This is my ranch, Stouts Rest.
And another
that
good
one. That's another good one. Shoot, I thought I pulled it up here. Actually, it doesn't look like I have it. Darn it.
Oh, shoot. I thought I sent it to you. So, well, let me
You
describe.
did. Yeah.
So you can continue to look and just pop it on there if you find it. But the Grain Bin Antique Town is the most fabulous antiquing destination that you can imagine. It's just outside of North Platte, south a little ways in the beautiful canyons. They have taken and restored these octagonal wooden grain bins that were distributed by the federal government during the Depression and the lead up to World War II so that we could have food storage in our rural communities. They're beautiful little huts, and I think they've got over 20 of them now, and they are filled to the rafters with antiques. Each one of them has a different theme. There's a large central area that's also a big metal building that's filled with antiques. So it is a destination. You can definitely go and spend the day at Grain Bin Antique Town.
The other thing I love is that the ladies that run it are fabulous, and they're very unique, and they're very cool to watch on Facebook. They do some fun videos.
Yep. Follow Grain Bin Antique Town on Facebook. And I see we have a question about how long is the drive from North Platte to Chimney Rock. And that's going to be about an hour. You are going to pass the time change though. So you're going to get there about the time you leave.
That's true. There is, I forget that every once in a while that we.
Hi, I'm Buffalo Bill, and there's a reason I chose beautiful North Platte, Nebraska to build my ranch. I want to take advantage of all the great recreational opportunities like horseback riding. You don't even have to be a master horseman like myself to take advantage of all these great trails. And that's why Dusty Trails gets Buffalo Bill's coveted Buffalo of Approval.
So I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with Lisa there on the Omaha end of this. I have really enjoyed being on here and telling you a few things about what there is to see and do here in North Platte. And once travel is safe again, we really encourage you to come out here and use North Platte as your hub, not only to explore the local area, but to really get to know everything that's here in your backyard in Western Nebraska. Like I said, there are a ton of things to do here. You can be in North Platte in about a little over an hour. You can be down in McCook at the Loop Brewing Company. A couple hours, you can be up to the Broken Bow and Ord area, some other great breweries. Chimney Rock, the Car Hinge are all just a quick drive away. And we do have a question about the Children's Museum. North Platte does have a really outstanding children's museum in our old Carnegie Library, and they work really hard revamping that every year and keeping it fresh and new. It makes a great stopover for your kids to just stretch their legs and burn off some steam as you're traveling through the area, or if you need something for the littler kids to do while your older kids are maybe enjoying the Golden Spike or the museum or Buffalo Bill's Ranch or something, makes a great stop. Of course, another great North Platte destination is Cody Park. They have wonderful children's rides there, a restored historic carousel, a little Ferris wheel, some other kids' rides there. They're just 50 cents a piece. So you can really spend all afternoon there and enjoy the great rides for a real affordable price. There's a great concession stand there with delicious ice cream and burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And of course, Cody Park is also the home to the Railroad Museum. And when you're visiting that, they have a steam locomotive and a diesel locomotive that you can actually climb right in and pretend like you are running the train. I see Lisa's back here. So.
Sorry about that little internet issues, but that it happens. I love Cody Park. I hear you were just talking about it.
Yep. Yep. Cody Park is a wonderful destination.
Stephanie, taking the family to, or maybe just your husband with you to North or to the breweries. That's a good idea. And Muriel gave a great list of doing a road trip just around a brewery tour, basically, of Western Nebraska. I think that's a great idea.
Yep. And Gretchen is talking about Cody Park ice cream. It is delicious.
Yeah, there's so much to do just in Cody Park. You can spend a few hours there with your family, or just taking in the ice cream, the animals. I love seeing the white peacock. I'd never seen one like that before.
He is beautiful. Yep.
And what was and then the trains.
Yep, the Railroad Museum there. They have a disc golf course. So if you like to play disc golf, you could do that there. A horseshoe pits, and of course all the animals: buffalo, deer, geese, and of course the peacocks.
Nice. And then of course, if you are doing, since we were talking about food a little bit, I know it's not quite on the same track, but if you're going on the Lincoln Highway and you want to commemorate kind of that, there's the Lincoln Highway Diner, which is right on the edge of town.
Yep, they have two locations, one out by the airport, which is right on the Lincoln Highway, and then one more towards the center of town. Great local hometown diner. And the owner of the Lincoln Highway Diner is actually the gentleman who has started our newest brewery, the Peg Leg Brewing Company. So a lot of hometown pride of our local entrepreneurs.
Wow. I mean, what a name, Peg Leg Brewery. I wonder, I always love learning like the name of the brewery and then the name of the beers and the artwork. That's just fascinating.
When you visit the Peg Leg Brewery and visit their head brewer, you will understand the Peg Leg reference, because he did lose his leg, and I'm not really sure why, whether it was a health issue or an accident, but he is Peg Leg.
Okay. Well, at least, he had some, as long as he's the one that gave it the name, then that's. Oh, looks like my friend Christiana, she's used North Platte as a hub for her family trips since she was little.
Well, we appreciate that. North Platte has a little over 1,700 sleeping rooms now. And so we make a great stopover, even if you're not choosing us for a destination. If you're just passing through, you're going to find great sleeping rooms and, of course, all the great restaurants to make your stay enjoyable.
Great. Has anybody else that's watching this now, the original broadcast, if you're commenting anywhere else, then we won't see the comments here. That may be why if you're watching this anywhere else, you may not be able to see that, or you may wonder why we're not calling out your comments. But if you're watching it somewhere else than the pages where it's being broadcast live to, then we can't see the comments here. So just to let you know that. And we appreciate everybody that took the time to watch tonight. And we can't wait to get out there on the road and check off some things, because like we said, there's some things even in the book that we knew we had to include that unfortunately we hadn't made it out to. One of them being, so I think the next time we go out there to North Platte, we're going to do tanking. And I think we're going to use it as a hub to go out to Toadstool.
Oh yeah, you will love both of those things.
So we're looking forward to getting out and hope you have a great rest of your week. And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
And if anybody, again, is interested in the books, they can be found on our website at thewalkingtourist.com/books. And there's much more in there than just North Platte. Of course, we cover the whole state, from eastern Nebraska and Omaha to the Panhandle, western Panhandle portion of the state. So check it out. And like I said, if you mention that you saw it on this broadcast or the replay, we'll send it out to you for free or with no shipping with no shipping costs. And then we'll be happy to sign it for you. So thanks again, and we'll see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.